I will be the first to admit I'm an improbable Zionist because I grew up in a community that was almost exclusively Latino and African American. I remember going to Sderot. I remember seeing the bomb shelters, and I thought to myself, imagine the sheer trauma of an Israeli child seeking refuge in a bomb shelter while rockets are being fired and sirens are going off. And all of this is unfolding not during wartime, but during peacetime. This is what normal looks like in the Gaza envelope. And I come from the Bronx, which is a rough neighborhood, but no one in the United States, none of us worry that Mexico and Canada are going to fire rockets and missiles into American homes and communities. And so I came to realize early on that Israel faces a level of volatility and insecurity, tiny democracy, the size of New Jersey, surrounded by enemies that are intent on wiping it from the map. And so Israel confronts a security situation that has no equivalent anywhere else in the world.
You really are very deep in the progressive camp on many, many issues. Why is it so hard to convey that story? You don't give Israelis a pass, but for some reason in the Democratic Party, there's this willingness to question whether this country has a right to exist.
I have a colleague who made a brilliant observation to me. He said that Israel should be the darling of the progressive movement, given the stated priorities of the American progressive movement. So what does the American progressive movement care about? It cares about universal health care. Well, Israel has a single payer system. It cares about campaign finance reform. Well, Israel has public financing of campaigns. It cares about the Green New Deal. Well, there's no country on earth that has more green innovation per capita than the state of Israel. And so Israel embodies the priorities, the ideals of the progressive movement, and yet it's become anathema to progressives in American politics. You know, I've thought about Israel I've been traveling to Israel for 10 years. I've been thinking and writing and speaking about the subject for 10 years. I'm by no means an expert, but I've engaged deeply with the subject. Whereas I find that most people in politics rush to pass judgment on Israel without actually knowing anything about the country, anything about the historical context of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and without experiencing it firsthand. Some of the most vitriolic critics of Israel refuse to even go there. You know, back in the summer of 2020 in New York City, there's an organization known as the Democratic Socialist of America, which sent out a questionnaire to city council candidates. And the final section of the questionnaire was a foreign policy section, which only had two questions. Question number one, do you pledge never to travel to Israel if elected to the city council? And question number two, do you pledge to support the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement against Israel? So in the democratic, socialist, progressive worldview, it is morally permissible to travel to China, which has committed genocide against Uyghur Muslims, to travel to Russia, which invaded a sovereign nation state, Ukraine, to travel to Iran, which is the leading sponsor of terrorism in the world. But travel to the world's only Jewish state, that is strictly forbidden. And for me, if that is not evidence of anti-Zionism as anti-Semitism, then I'm not sure what would be.